Shri Gurubhyo Paramagurubhyo Srimadananda Tirtha Bhagavat Padacharyobhyo Namo Namaha Narayana Paripurna Gunarnavaya Visvodaya Stititolaya Niyadi Prataya Jnana Prataya Vibhuda Sura Saukya Dukkha Satkaranaya Vidadaya Namo Namaste Yo Viprilimba Viparita Madiprabodhan Vadan Rasya Kritavan Bhuvidatva Vadam Sarvesvaro Haririti Pratipatakam Tam Ananda Tirtha Munivaram Namami Pujyaya Rahavendraya Satyadharmarataya Chayam Pajatam Kalpavrakshaya Namatam Kamadhenave Sahana Vavatu Sahana Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahaihi Tejasvina Vadidamastuma Vishvidavahaihi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome friends once again to this our journey of Kathopanishad. Now as we are getting into the Kathopanishad, we will also be briefing about the another project which we are embarking upon next Monday onwards, that I will brief immediately after the session is over. Now we will continue our journey. We are at the very sort of a crucial part of the Kathopanishad in the second Adhyaya, first Valli. The first 9 mantras we have covered. The 9th mantra was the one which we were discussing last week. This is basically to know what is that power, what is the divinity, what we call it, what we call it as a God. The one who has not been seen with our physical eyes. The physical eyes are the one which is capable of seeing something which we are made to understand because of the 5 tanmatras called Sabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha, which only we can see that because as the first mantra has said, because all our senses are outgoing, they will be able to see what is out of our requirement, what is out of our ambit. So we are being dissipated into the world with a variety of things what we see, and that is what is conditioning us and controlling us to live in this world. But there is no other way to live in this world. How do we live in this world? Unless you know what you are seeing and what you are learning and what you are doing and what you are observing, that's how you are going to see everything and all. But all these things, are they, because why they keep, because once you do certain things, they don't satisfy you they satisfy you at that particular point of time, at that particular moment. The next moment, because you are just getting into something else. Because what you have already done, what you have learned, you don't stop at that, because you are moving from moment to moment, thought to thought, perception to perception. Something propels you to go one after the other. Otherwise, because the life, if you say, because if you got everything at a sort of a datum point, and you are satisfied with that, you are going to live like that, because then it is not life, then it is like, what is that life, because it is just, and we are not supposed to be there and all. We are supposed to understand, experiment, and see what what we have understood, because we all learn from that, and then go further into that. We go on evolving ourselves into living in this world. In that process, we are going to evolve ourselves as a being. That's what the Upanishad talks about. That being part, because we are not able to understand what is that being. The being is not what you are doing, what you are experiencing, what you are enjoying, what you are undergoing, whether it is happiness or suffering, or what you are facing day to day and all. Because all these things are that will happen. That will happen to not only to us, it happens to everyone. It happens to animals also, it happens to birds and bees also, it happens to plants and trees and fauna also, it's happening. But they are also taking in the stride, but they are not getting agitated. They simply go by accept whatever happens, and they are looking up to the sort of the environment or the nature, and because they are also when the storm is there, because they are also going with the storm. When the rain is there, they are also drenching in the rains. When there is a drought, because they are also undergoing without even the nourishment or the basic nourishment of the water, they go and they just don't crib about, because they just go through that life. But why we do have all these things? Because why we have the craving, as well as why we have got the repulsion, rejection, and why we have a dissatisfaction once we have a happiness, or once you get into sort of ecstasy, mode of ecstasy that doesn't long, then again you come back to this. Why it happens? Because what is the difference between us and because the animals in particular? Let us see, which we can understand. Plants we can't speak, because it has got its own life. It feels. It is not able to express, but only by experimenting, by scientific advancement, we are able to understand. Yes, it must be this and it must be that. We are able to sort of because generate new type of plants, and as well as some of the plants which are likely to be extinct, we are also able to recreate in the laboratories. And the animals also, they have got their particular way of life, because they also accept more or less like the plants are that's one only, because they don't go after anything, because which is beyond their power, which is beyond their need, they never go after. Whereas we are also having the same instincts and all, but they don't have a purpose. They have got a purpose of immediately satisfying the instinctive needs. We are a purposive animal, because we got not only the instinctive needs, and not only that, we need something more. We want to be dominant. We want to be known. We are after the name and fame. Over and above, what we have, the basic requirement and all, because that is that ambition, because that craving creates in you the ambition creates the sort of, the propels you to get into further mode, because whether it is in the field of science or field of education, field of politics, or everywhere, the propensity, the instinctive need to dominate is always there in the being, because we are a purposive animal. A bee gathers, goes after the flowers once they are blooming. Finally, it gathers, because all the honey, because why it does it? Does it do with the purpose? Does it save for itself, for the rainy day to drink itself and sustain? No. Entire bees, they have produced the honey not for themselves. It is for all of us and all others. But they are doing it because they know they have been created only to create the beehive and the honey and all. Because that is the purpose. They know, because they only know they have been created. They are simply doing it. They are not bothering about what is happening and all. They are not, one bee is not competing with another bee and all. All the, because queen bee is there to do, and all the work bees, they are trying to work like a workaholic. They only go on gathering, entire honey and putting it in there. That's all. They don't do it for themselves, because they know they have been asked. They know the only to do that, they are trying to excel and do it. And afterwards, the beings like us, we try to exploit, what they have created. For I think we think, it has been created for us. We take it. What is our contribution in creating it? Because we may be having a bee farm. We may be, because cultivating the bees, because so that we'll get the honey. If you go to California, because they take all the bees, to the almond plantations, because where they go there, because proliferate and create, the new variety of the almonds, and the almond comes up and all. But in the during the other season, they all bees are being taken to the orange field, so that they are able to gather enough honey, and they are able to get a lot of pollens. They are able to collect, so that when they go to the almond plants, because they are able to pollinate. This I didn't know. That guide told me, because because the bees are being, there are a lot of bee farms both in the orange farms and as well as in the almond farms. The orange farms, it is for to have all the pollens, the taken, gathering it, and as well as the creating the gathering the honey and all. And the almond is to pollinate and create new varieties of the almonds, like pistachios. You might be knowing the California pistachios and almond that is being done there. And human mind has evolved to know, how, what is the quality, how it can do, and it is being used for your own purpose. We are a purposive animals. We know what is the purpose we need for. They are doing their own job. They are doing their job in orange farm also, because what they are supposed to do in almond farm also they are doing, but they are not doing it for anything for themselves. But finally, because someone exploits us, because we are the purposive animals. Having been the purposive animals only, this is what, because when you only go on finding everything, because what your experience offers, because what the you, instinctive domination, which is propelling you to do everything, because that you are after that. but you have not realized even for a moment, what is the sort of, the being, you are. You are not able to realize as a being, what is that? As a bee is able to do, it understands, its job is only to create the honey, it does it. But whereas, our job is to understand and evolve ourselves and to become more human. Whatever we get, because into that is, because what happens is in most of us, because in our sort of the entire, the heat of the day, heat of the moment, as well, heat of our life, we just lose our human qualities. Our innocence is slowly being lost. The process of living is losing the innocence and losing the nobility, which has been created with which we are created, is being lost across the line. And finally, the life what we are living is losing the innocence, all the good qualities, and accumulating all the luggages, unwanted luggage. Now you will have to throw out unwanted luggage. You will not be able to throw in one go. You will have to slowly throw one by one, because as you find it is not necessary, it is not necessary. Neti, neti, as our Shastra says, because is it the God? No, it is not the God. Is it the God? No, it is not the God. That is one way of, because understanding that is because Advaita sort of establishes it, practice, it was philosophy by calling neti, neti, because to every Shruti is being taken from that perspective. So likewise, once you are trying to leave all the luggages and finally you are trying to find the core of you, then you find, because what is that, because all along I have missed. And why I have lost all those great qualities, because I have been taught, to be a good person, to be helpful to others, all those things, in my sort of in the infancy, I have been told, in my primary, I have been told. But as I come to the high school, because I become smarter, I want to be, because smarter than others. That's what my parents want me. I also want to be the one. And if I want to win the world, because then I want to be standing, first among, because the competitive exams and then I go for this one. Everywhere I try to grab the opportunity and grow, because that's what the life, that's what we have been taught. In this, slowly when we are losing the innocence and we become more purposive an animal than what we are, then we are not able to. This is what the first mantra said, Paranchikani Vyatarana Swayambhu, because you are being taken out. But if you are going to take out, that's why the next mantra said, you are a bala, you are a child, you are not understood what you are. Knowing yourself is something much, much more than, what you are experiencing and looking for. So that's how, we came one after the other. And because why, because then we saw the reason, because why all these, the Sabda Sparsha Rupa Gandha, because all these things which creates the need in us, the craving for us, because then we get attached to that. We slowly understand that it's not you control, you just have a command over your senses. You don't have to give up your senses. Your senses are required to live in this world. You are required to understand and all. So once you have it, then when you are trying to get into the core of you, and then you are trying to find, because then you kachit diraha. Some people try to see, what is it inside. That is how they are coming it up. In that process only, we saw the last mantra. How you are able to find, how one will be able to find that the process that was discussed. And in that process only we said, because whatever the power, which is driving you, and that is driving everyone else, the same power, the godliness or the power, what you call, you are the God, or you got the power of the God, or the God is helping you, or even if you don't believe, you are an atheist, because there is a nature given, nature endowed power as in that nature endowed power is there with everyone else, all the animals, all the plants. So when the same power is propelling everyone to live in this world, why can't you respect all others equally as you are? Not that, because you succumb to everyone and all, be subservient to everyone. You be yourself, you understand that, so that, you will not be sort of spoiling your time, by thinking about others and by sort of, the working on the others and all, but you will be working on yourself. Because when we are going to the gym, we are working for the, because six-pack muscles or eight-pack muscles and, because all those things and everything and all. But our mental, the cybernetics, your, the cyber calisthenics, we don't do. That's where, because we have got the yoga and other technique, so that, because finally your controller is there in the mind. The mind, once you are able to control, and because once because once the mind is able to get all the inputs, required input, and all the chaff it is able to throw out, finally your intellect is able to be fed with the right input, and the intellect is able to do its job much more perfectly than what it could be. If you are bringing all the unwanted things, intellectual works on tells, by this is not good, but then sometimes you overlook the intellect, because your cravings, your saptasparsha rupa rasa gandha, because I ask you to ignore the intellect and go about. Don't do that, because that's what we have seen in all other Upanishads. This Upanishad directly comes into that. And then you say, because whatever mind you're saying, it is all there with everyone. Everyone gets all the great qualities, from the cosmic mind, what you call Hiranyagarbha, which we talked about. That is the mantra number 6 and 7 talked about. And that is, because when you are looking into yourself and when you are transcending, your own mind and intellect with the right input, and finally, when you are able to see as a being as to what you are not only a simple purposive animal living in this world, just to have a good life, because and good comfort, and live up to, because 80, 90, or most comfortably and go off. That is not the be all and end of it. There is something much more. So once you come to that, then you are trying to understand, yes, because this is better, but when you are trying to do that, so once you know there is transcendence, because there are occasions in your life, you got that intuitive power, but are you able to realize that, understand that, catch that wonderful moment, it might have happened, despite the fact, we are into this world, there are moments, sometimes, when we are in our pristine, pure self, because we will always be able to be in the pristine pure self sometime in all, but in the part of the day, that is when you are in deep sleep. When you are in deep sleep, you don't have anything, you are as pure a being as you could be. That could be more purer than what you were there in your deep sleep, than what you, because you can't be this like that in your waking stage or dreaming stage. Waking stage, because you will have to work on so many things, your needs. Not only that, because modern life throws so many problems to you. And in our country, because problems galore right from the morning to get a packet of milk through the day, because night, you will have to get something, for next day's, requirement. You will have to be around, because it is a sort of a life. It's not only for you and me. And, because at least, we do have some resources to do. There are people even without the resources to do. They are all resources to have. And they are also having this problem. Once you are having all these things coming together and all, so then you are wondering, and because then, and that deep sleep, you don't have anything. All the problems, nothing comes to your fore. Your consciousness, all the senses are being kept active. Your breath, because the God-given power breathe, because that is keeping you alive. And, you are just able to, your body is able to recreate itself, and it is able to get necessary recreation cells and DNAs and all that. It get all them sort of the energy, it is able to get that point at that point of time. The next day when you get up, then only you get the consciousness of the time. Yesterday night I had a very good sleep. All of us have that wonderful moment every day. Our biography is made of all the three moments, and there is one part of the moment is such a pristine pure. If we could have the same attitude and approach throughout the day, that is what the meditation or the yoga or understanding or realization and all, when it happens, throughout the day, you will be able to be in that same pristine, pure state as you were in deep sleep state. That is the greatest gift. But how many of us will be able to achieve? Is there no one, has anyone has not achieved it? Or anyone, if he has achieved it, how they have achieved it? That is why we have got the living laboratories, because we are still having it in our sort of discussions, and because still they have lived among us ourselves, like the Ramana Maharishi, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Swami Vidya, Vivekananda, and Dayananda Saraswati, Chinmaya. So many people, all the masters, even now there are a lot of masters all around. They are all able to take the things as it is, because for them it doesn't make any difference. They are in the deep sleep state or waking state. And they're also trying to, because see, as active as possible, because they are not sitting idle, that just because, you have that, because that's all, it's not be all and end all. You will have to do. because you have to do with once you have come the kara iti karma. Once you have taken the human body, you will have to do the karma. Karma, what is kara? It is God has brought you here, because He has given the gift of this body and the gift of the body, mind, and intellect, because and Durlabham Manushya Janmanam, having taken this highest evolved form, what you are doing is karma is the tax you have to pay. Kara iti karma, like kar, you say GST is a kar, income tax is a kar. Likewise, because you will have to do what is the karma? It's not for doing yourself. Nana janasya shushru karmas. What is that? You cannot be only working for others. Swaprayojana so be paraprayojana. By whatever doing myself, because so that it's not going to harm, but it will also be beneficial to someone else. You don't have to be consciously doing this, by having the attitude, automatically things will pan out like that. This is what has been brought about mantra number 6 and 7. And though it talked about Hiranyagarbha and because how the God is creating, because as a sort of, because he creates all the bodies and he is the one who is the controller of all the deities, because we have seen all the deities and all, because in all our senses have been assigned a God, which we have discussed long before in the third Valli of first Adhyaya itself, in 10th mantra, when we said Indriyobhyo Paraha Arthaha Ashtebhyo Param Manaha Manasastu Para Buddhiratma Mahan Paraha. Because, like we said, Indriyabhyo Para Artha, in this Indriya senses are subtler than the Artha, the objects, the life which we are living. Artebhyo Param Manaha. Because then, because before that, then the tanmatras are the one, the superior to all these senses, sabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha, because they are the one activate all the senses. The power, which makes you to see and which makes you to hear. These are all because the craving is given by this sapta, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha. They are all the one. And above that is the subtler than that is the mind. The mind is more subtler, because it is not, because it is not part of your body. It is part of your subtle body. It gathers all the great knowledge, and from there, manasastu para buddhi, intellect is subtler than the mind, because it has got the distinction, discriminating power, and it is able to tell the, because the mind, look, because these are all the inputs you have got, and this is what you will have to do, so that it can transmit back to the senses what they have to do and all. Because this process is going on and day up. We don't know. We are oblivious of that, because we are taken for granted. But this is what is happening. Buddhir Atma Mahan Paraha. Even the intellect, because Atma in the sense, it is the Paramatma, super self, or Hiranyagarbha, we say, because it is subtler than everything else. When you say subtler than everything else, because it is the one, which finally said, and beyond that, because subtler than Avyaya. Avyaya is the one, who is sort of, you will not be able to understand, he is hidden, Guheyam, that is what, it is the Prakriti. She is part of that power, because the what Mula Prakriti we call it, because she is the one, who comes as a Sita, because they don't come out of the natural womb, because they are all manifest. She came out of the field. So is Andal, because she is also not to be, because not to come out of the mother's womb, but she was found in a garden like that. Because they all manifest themselves, when the time comes. Beyond that, then Param Brahma. Beyond that, no one is there. That's why it's called Param Brahma. But we have got there are a lot of, because our eyes are being, we are being controlled by Surya, the ears are being controlled by the moon, and the tongue and the taste is being controlled by the Kubera, and the taste is, and even the your smell is controlled by the Ashwinau, because like walk, because when you are able to speak, actually it is the Agni which controls. When you are able to be an eloquent speak, because the Agni Tattva will have to be sort of manifest in itself, because Vaikarya Vani, because it comes from there. We have seen how the Vani comes, from the perception, the thought comes from the thought, because it activates and it becomes Vaikari. From the Vaikari, it comes to the tongue, because it is finally the goddess Bharati, because who is supposed to be, or Saraswati, the other name called, Because of their grace, finally, it is the Agni which enables you to. So likewise, we have assigned the entire body, all these great elements and all, but then finally, when the power is controlling all these goddesses. Why it is said is, because in Veda you will be finding the hymns, because invoking and praising Indra, invoking and praising Agni, then Vayu, Varuna, and all those things. Finally, all these people, because that's what the mantra number 9, the 8 we have seen. When we said, because 7 it said, because finally they are all the one, all the gods are finally under his control. So you try to understand him, that how to get him, because that's what mantra number 8 we said. Aranya Nihito, because there are two logs of wood which is being used in all yajnas. It is called Aranya. It is more of a salwood, because particular salwood that comes up in the forest, they choose that. And when you rub one against the other, then the spark is formed. In those days, of course, you didn't have the matchstick and all, but even in the household, they were using, the stones and, because this type of arani, it is called arani. Aranya nihito, because for yajnas, even today, wherever certain yajnas are to be done as per the Brahmanas, as in the Rig Veda or Yajurveda and all, then they have to use this arani, they have to create the spark. The spark is being collected onto the small, because the cotton soaked in ghee, and the flame that created out of that is being used in the Yajna. So that is what the simile, it has given in this. And it gave two metaphors to bring about and how you are able to understand your being, what we talked about, because we have not understood ourselves as being. We have been a purposive animal, but we have not rather tried to find ourselves, because the glory is in us, the prospects in us, the potential in us, the power in us, to the evolution which we can attain beyond. And but the evolution is a continuous process. There is no this far and no further. It is not that. This will continue birth after the birth. In fact, we will see, somewhere else, and immediately after a couple of mantras, it is not birth after birth, which we have been using. It is death after death. This is what Yama uses. It is because he says death is imminent to everyone. As a Yakshapragya, because when Yudhishthira was asked what is the most sort of a wonderful thing, in this world, what is the most Kim Ascharya, because what is that, you are able to surprises you most in this world is everyone thinks, his plans as if he is going to live forever. But everyone will have to go. That's why, because in Yama, because when he says, one of the couple of passages later we will be seeing, he uses mrityu su mrityu, in the sense from death to death. It's not, because that's why, even find when the Christians, when they are being putting the entire corpse into because entire downing, the entire into this cemetery, what they write, what they recite, earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. That's all, you go back to, the form from where you have come. This is exactly, because once you have understood there is no fear of death. So you leap into the unknown, you leap into the bliss, you leap into the final fire moment, because where it is phantasmagoria. You will not be able to understand that bliss, because with this body, mind, and intellect, and in this body. This is exactly it. Aranya Nihito Jataveta. Jataveta is, because you might have heard in a lot of mantras Jataveta. Jataveta is Agni in the Yajna. He is supposed to be the conveyor of all that is offered through Agni to the powers that be, to the Paramatma and all the gods when you are doing, because Indra, whenever any Yajna you do it, Sarshana Yajna, because it is going to Sarshana. It's a Ganapati Yajna and it is being offered to the Ganapati. See, all those things, you do Vastu Yajna and all those things, Graha Pravesam, you do Ganapati Yajna and Vigneshwara Yajna, you do it. And you do Sudarshana Yajna. So many Yajnas are being done. Everything is being offered by Jataveta. That is his job. When he is going, when you say Swaha, and when you offer it, Swaha is supposed to be the wife of Agni, because it is being given to her, she carries it then. She is supposed to be the daughter of Swayambhu Manu, because the forefather, who is the first one who has created the entire mankind, the Manusmriti, what we talk about. So likewise, because we have got everything, a divinity attached to that. Basically, to know that you are nothing but divine in every aspect of it, but you have not understood, because you have got the divine power in you propelling all through. Aranya Nihito Jatavetaha Garbha Iva Subruto Garbhini Bihi. And because how, because you are able to, you have been brought up, you have been developed, because he gives opportunity, like a mother, having the child in the womb, how careful she will be. She tends the whatever in it, and she does everything, because so that finally the product comes out of her womb, tumbles into this earth, comes as a wonderful being. That's what every mother looks for. She doesn't look for, because let this guy be someone else and this girl be someone else. Because they all look for the best out of that. They do that. Garbha eva subhruto garbhini bhi. That's a wonderful, because that is, there cannot be more thankful, more noble sort of an act, in which everything is being tended to its desired growth, determined growth, which you can grow. Because it is like that. Aranya nihito jataveta. And so that dive dive eat your jagrata, because day by day, because when you see in the first month of the pregnancy and third month of the pregnancy, nowadays they are taking the scan and what to be done, what to be eaten, what to be, so that the child will know what to hear, and you hear a good music and you good talks, so that the child will also have that, because the psychosomatic impression of all these things, finally it comes, it comes out with a wonderful being, to be a wonderful human being to in this world. We all came like that. But what happened to us? In our process of living, we slowly lost our innocence. We gathered all cobwebs and carried the luggages, and that is how we are not able to find who we are ourselves. Now, Upanishad tries to bring you who you are, man. At least now try to get into that, because that's what, dive dive ityo jagrata havishmati, because jagrati. Because once you are being rather waken up to understand Havishmati, like Havish, because which is being offered in the Yajna. The final offering is called Havish. The Havish is the one, because all the sort of the valuable things and all the valuable sort of food and all the valuable, because the dry fruits, everything else and all, they offer it, because so that it's all nothing our, it's given by Prakriti, and Prakriti has given it to me. It's na mama, because if you have seen the Yajna, the one of the words they will be doing is after Swaha na mama, they will be doing it. Now after putting a sort of a, because the small quantity of ghee into that, when they take it out, na mama, it is not mine. The body, then, because we have to understand the body is not mine. I am not body. Once you know that, then you will not be, because looking around and, because I am this body, I am so and so, I am the father of so and so, I am son of so and so, I am the sort of a big politician, I am this leader, I am that, I was this, and all those things you are not yours. And because it is being beautifully said in Bhagavatam also, even to Yudhishthira, such a enlightened soul, because even understands, because without me, how, because these people will be handled. Who are you? Because you are depending on the grains and other things which has been offered, and because the grains have also got the life, because they have sacrificed life and they have given it to you. And all the things you are using, edible things, they also had life, because as a plant. They are all come to you and they are nourishing you, and because of that you are living. Who are you? Means, you are dependent on someone has given you all those things. Dive jagrata thavishmati is the Agni. Because this is the Agni, because finally, Manishya being, when the man becomes finally the Agni, the God called Agni, because he's the one, he takes everything, out of this entire scenario when the Pralaya is there. Why we are offering to the Agni? Finally, because in the subtlest God who can be seen. We can't see the Akasha and space. We only have been, because you can only define the space and the Akasha, because the firmament is so vast, horizon will be going on, you will not be able to feel that. But the Agni you will be able to see, because a part of it, the flame you will be able to see wherever you are creating, whether it is in the kitchen or the home cooked, you will be able to see it. And this is, they brought it about, because this is to know why you have to do all these things. Like the Arani, 2 logs of food is creating. It is the Guru who you require. The spark in you can be brought out. Aranya Nihito is like Guru Sishya. Only when you get the right Guru, he knows how to bring the spark out of that. So once the spark is brought out and when it's being made into a small flame with propelling your interest, and finally when you also get into the process of knowing yourself, the guru slowly tends as a mother is, because holding the child in her womb, he's trying to, because he's so motherly. A guru is, in fact, because that's why the Chinmayanda used to say, God wants to show their love to the human beings, so he couldn't do anything. That's what Vivekananda has also said in one of his talks. So he created the mother so that you understand how the God's love could be. For a human being to understand, he can't see God and understand his love. It is only through the mother he manifests, what type of a love he can get from the God. So once you understand that the motherly love, because he is trying to give you every moment of it, and once you leave everything to him, Naham Karta, Hari Karta, because everything is being done by him through me. I'm only an instrument, so I will not be going on, because taking all the credits and because all wallowing over all the mistakes and all. It's all I have done, with the right intention, the right purpose. That's what in our hands we can do that. That's what, because it says, this is this is where, because the it says, because once you have this attitude, you will not be languishing or you will not be going overboard onto anything. Either of that will happen. You understand that, and you need always a guru. And how you guru, you will have to go to the right places, where you will be able to understand yourself, where you will be able to advise, because there are so many gurus nowadays. You can, if you go for a guru shopping, a dime a dozen is available over the internet, as well as, because there's so many ashrams and all these things. But then you will have to find, because how to do. And once you have the right intention, the Shastra also says the right guru, in this mantra itself, in this Upanishad itself, we have seen the guru will manifest, the right guru will manifest at your doorstep. You might find, because still last year I didn't know there is someone, who is like that, some organization which is like this, someone who is doing. Only couple of years back, I chance meeting was there, I got to know. And then, because, okay, then you understood, yes, he is able to sort of bring the spark in you and bring the interest in you, the propel you and tend you towards to your own growth. You are able to see the life, same life. You are living the same life, but your viewpoint has changed. Your outlook has changed. What you would have been, because miserable, few years before, now it becomes most wonderful now because you have understood. It is only how your attitude and your thoughts and your intention, everything is being propelled. And once you become such a being, and there is no end to it, it is only a work in progress. It will have to go on and on and on. This is what it says. There is no end to it. Then we came into the, now it is time to think, who is that power, who is trying to give you all these things. He manifests the right guru because you had the right intention. And he is also going to tend you like a mother in the how she is tending a womb in her child in her womb, because all through, and because day by day how she takes care, how the guru is doing all these things, who makes all these things. Cheti suryaha astam yatra na gachati yatra cha gachati. See, yatache udeti suryaha, where the sun rises from. Astam yatra cha gachati, where the sun sets. It's not going to set in Kanyakumari, because when you are on a full moon day, because they say the sun goes down and the moon rises, because that's wonderful. That is what the human eye is able to manifest and see. Because the earth is rotating around the sun at that point of time, it appears, because the sun is going down and the reflection of the moon comes out and you are able to see simultaneously. That's a wonderful sight after all. Irrespective of the fact, whatever be the philosophical intonation and all, it's a wonderful sight, people go there and all. But at the same time, because it is rising elsewhere in Australia. And after some time, it will be rising elsewhere in Canada and US and all that continent. Likewise, it happens. It is going Ekarshi, 24/7. He doesn't do anything other than giving his light and nourishment to the entire world. All through this. And who makes him to do? And what is the power he has got? You want to see him. In whom it rises and in whom it sets. I want to know. That is that Brahman. That's what, we just refer to our Ishavasya Upanishad, Hiranyena Patrena Satyasya Apihitam Mukam. The entire effulgence of golden orb of the sun, what it does, because behind that there is a great power, because we request sun to just go off and show me that power. You will not be able to see with these physical eyes. You will be able to see only with your mental eyes. When you are get into that meditative mood, you will be able to get a glimpse of it. You will not be able to comprehend. You will be only be able to apprehend few minutes, few moments, few seconds. That's what you are looking for. Tam devaha sarvam arpitaha. He is the one to whom all gods submit. Take yourself, all the gods, because your eyes are being controlled by sun, ears are being controlled by moon, our nose is being controlled by Varuna, and your the talk is being controlled by Bharati, and because all the entire, we have assigned all the gods, they are all submitting, because unless they all work as per his orders, because with his power, you will not be a good human. Your tongue will have to be talked. When you talk, you will have to talk sense. If you're a lawyer, you will be able to present the point, whether you are practicing in High Court or Supreme Court, or whether you are a teaching, or whether you are a professional speaker, or whether you are giving, because talks on any subject, philosophy or anything like that, or whether you are going to work with your hands, or whether you are a great, because you are a pilot, you are able to navigate even the satellites to the moons and other things, you should have the power of, the knowledge as well as the eyesight, and you should be able to hear, because so that you become a great conductor or a musician, or you yourself become a, all these powers comes from where? This is a upasana. Tam devaha sarve arpitaha. Finally, whoever you are doing, because I want everything, to go without any sort of a obstruction, then, you pray to Ganesh. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakodi Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvata, you are doing. Why? Because that is, he's the one who is doing it. How he is doing it? He is the Pranava. He is representing the Pranava. How he got the Pranava? Because he also meditated on the highest power. Who is the power who is making the sun rise and sun sets in him? And who makes the space? And because that is the power which we don't know, because we all refer, metaphorically as well as trying to take you to the direction to which. Now, because to the sadhana and upasana, now with the yogic, because the practices, the meditative practices, the Kathopanishad takes you to the level where you are able to understand the possible delineation of the God, because to the extent and when you will be able to experience, not explain. It is more to be understood, more to be sort of a felt. Every cell of your body will have to feel it. Not that someone will come and tell you in ear or show you in a screen. Arpitaha tadu natyeti kaschana. This, he is verily that, because no one can go beyond. Not beyond. That is the limit. If you see the infinity, it is the limit of the infinity, the plenitude of the infinity. But we will not be able to calibrate, measure, or manipulate. It is that point. It is the limit of everything. In the integration and because as well as differentiation, you will have to set a limit. Without that, you cannot solve the problem. He is that limit. He is the final limit, ultimate limit. When 200 billion galaxies, we are in one of the tiny galaxies in the tiny solar system, this Earth, and in this we are a tiny dots, floating around, and because there are 200 billion such galaxies and 20 billion sun-like stars are hovering. This is what the scientists say. But I don't know how, what basis, because they must be having a basis there. And tomorrow they may say it is 300 or 400. The numbers may go. But who is that power who is controlling all those things? Who has kept this in thing? Why the 200 billion galaxies don't collide with each other? Why they are all in their places? Where they are having their own sort of solar systems and satellites, and because they got their own planets hovering around. They are also circling around some other planet. And some of the planets, the new planets are being found. Some of them, get into the dark because the Big Bang, they also vanish. Some stars vanish. They are creating, because such a power, the megatons of the energy is being released into the space. Why all these, how these things are all being managed? when we are in such a tiny thought, the galaxy and solar system, trying to understand, still evolving, and every day we are getting a new fact coming into being. How, because all these senses, function, how the cells of the body, don't escape from the body and create something and all. There are so many cells are dying, so many cells are being recreating, and they say you've got a pharmaceutical factory in the body, which produces much higher than all the pharmaceuticals known to the world. And so many enzymes are being generated, and so many things are being happening into your own body. How these things are being maintained? It's not by, because you are being only the supplements in your own food and thing, because God has given that power. And who has created that order is there. If that, otherwise we will not look like what we are. We would have been a different creatures. Our form would be different. Sometimes it is repulsive. We will not be able to imagine. We will be such a kind, but we have been put into a form, and we are trying to appreciate the form, and we make a craving. I should be like this, and we go for because I think changing our colors, changing our hair, because all those things, because it all happens, because these are all why has someone has created all these things. And this will also evolve. This may not be there, because like we have got the Neanderthal genes as it has been found by the Nobel laureate in a couple of years before, because the few centuries or few hundred years later, because the beings will be of a different kind. We don't know. Respect to the fact who keeps all this order. Who is the final limit, to keep all this order, whom we have not understood. That is the power. This is exactly, because the delineation of the God, because what has been given. And this is being explained further into, as we grow, with going into this Kathopanishad, I think it is accelerating. See, every time you find, because how they are taking step by step, the limited mind, with which we are approaching to understand the ultimate power who is in us, and who is also, because saying is, ever vyapta hai everywhere. Ishavarsham idagum sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat, where in all galaxies, as the nook and crannies, he is there. Tena taktena bunjitaham akrita kasyasvitanam. And everything is, because he has offered, the body is offered, the cells, because the enzymes he is offered, and the life he has offered, and everything is his. And we are trying to claim, because it is, once you understand, you will not have any ego. What is that? Yours is nothing. Then, because you don't have to, because it's not a big deal to give up ego. That's what, I just narrated a small incident which Ramana Maharishi has said. I think, because he said, he was in Madurai, because before he just went to Thiruvannamalai on the inner call. He was staying with his uncle. He was just about 15 years, 14, 15 years old in West Chitrai Street, because this is around the temple. Madurai is a beautifully designed city. The center is the temple. All the squares, it's all, even the inner precincts are also square, it is called the Adi, in that particular month of Adi, because the deity comes around there. The next precincts is called Chitrai, all the four. It's a west, east, south, and north, because the Chitrai Street. In one of the Chitrai Street, in West Chitrai Street, he stayed. In fact, incidentally, I had my Sanskrit education in the same street. In that, when he was staying, because the next the neighbor, who was a person, who was given, was sort of a owner of all this entire area and all, best part of the houses he was owning. He was a very rich man, and he came to know, some thieves are trying to come, and they are going to visit his house that night. So he immediately arranged the policemen around the area, and in front and back of his house are also protected and all. And when they suddenly, because that the fellows who came also, I think they had an inkling of it. I think these fellows are made and all. Of course, they came, I believe. And they came, and by the time, they could be caught, because they escaped. They knew, because they have made all the arrangements, there is no point in showing their skill there, they vanished. So Ramana Maharishi says, ego is like that. If you go after the ego, you will not be able to catch, because where is the ego? You can't find. Once you try to live naturally in consonance with the nature, then, because once because whatever comes in your way, you take it, and whatever you have, you try to make best use of it. Then ego doesn't manifest at all. It goes off. It is like a thief as he escaped even before he is caught. That's what he says, because you will not be able to deliberately, where is my ego? I try to control tomorrow onwards, I will not be, I will be humble. No, nothing will not work. You just be with content with whatever happens. Try to do whatever is best you can have, and try to accept whatever comes in the way, and try to have a positive intention, noble intention always. Try to do everything with the best possible intention. That's all, nothing else. Ego will automatically be ebbing away. You don't have to look for that. This is what the process he said. And in fact, the mantra, what we recited, because the earlier mantra and Aranyani Hito and where Suryasyas, now Udeti Suryam Astam Yatrana Gachati, where the sun rises and sets, all these mantras, what they say is, be aware of the entire ayatanam, this entire environment. You are with the entire nature. Be with the nature. It is a field. It is a divine field. Unless you are with the divine field, your divinity will not be manifesting. In fact, because it is suggested to have simple life, because what we have it, because with a simple life and high thinking, what we used to have is in those days, it is but to create to have the needs as frugal as possible, and live with because as much as with whatever is available, because don't try to create extra not synthetic comforts. You go on doing it. Once you live with the nature, it is the field, and you are always, the entire world is full of divinity. You will be able to realize the divinity in that process, because you will be able to know you are a divine being. And that is only the beginning. It is not even the start of the beginning. It's just the beginning. As you go about, the journey will take you. It is a work in progress. It is bliss after bliss. Come in this part of a spectrum after spectrum, because it's the streaming bliss. That will be the life we have to look for. The rest of the mantras, Kathopanishad, they will take you to wonderful, I think, because next 4 mantras are going to be the final mantras for this particular part of the second Adhyaya. And then we will get into the much higher version of whatever we have seen in the other valleys will be coming. With this, today I will be concluding the session. And before that, I will also make an announcement, because from 30th December, on 30th December, which is Hanuman Jayanti day, we are going to have evening around 6:30 or 7. The time has not been decided. Evening session we will be having, since it is a Hanuman Jayanti, and it is also Somavati Amavasya, very popular and very sacred in, because many parts of the India, particularly in north, west, and east. And we will be commencing the Sundarakanda Parayana Yajnam. The Sundarakandam is considered to be the most noble kandam, because there are so many, there are 6 kandas in the 7 kandas, in fact, in the Ramayana. Balakandam, Ayodhya Kandam, Aranya Kandam, Kishkinda Kandam, Sundara Kandam, Yuddha Kandam, finally is Uttarakanda. 24,000 wonderful verses, which Valmiki has created. The Adi Kavyam, the Kavyam that has been created, is unparalleled. And not only that, in the 24,000 verses, every 1,000 verses, if you take the first word, it makes the 24 letters of Gayatri. The Gayatri has emanated from the 24 letters of Ramayana. It has been made in such a way. And this Sundarakandam is named after Sundarakandam. Why he has not been? Because what is Sundarakandam per se says? The Sundarakandam is where the Hanuman is trying to find. Hanuman has been told. Hanuman came to know after meeting, because by chance in Kishkinda Kandam, and because understanding, because with his boss Sugriva, is, because the leader, who was in a problem, the Rama gave his help to Sugriva. In that process, because the Valli was eliminated, and of course, because we have got a lot of debate on those things that we'll also see. Having come to that, because he has been assigned the job of going to Lanka and finding the Sita and make a strategy so that she could be rescued. But he has neither seen Sita. He only understood the entire story, and his job is gargantuan, and he has to sort of go over the seas. And he was just, because like a Vanara in Kishkinda, just about, going about like all other Vanaras. He has not tried anything extraordinary, because as it has been. Finally, when he comes, when it is job has been assigned, like all of us, when we take up a new job, we just don't know, what it is. And you could get into the first job, because when you get into after your education or after your training, when you are put into the job, you are wondering how it is going to pan out. You don't know because you have got so many sort of anxieties, ambitions, and as well as whether you are up to the mark or whether you have to go for this and whether you have to get this knowledge and all those things. When you are nonplussed, so Hanuman is in that stage. Finally, slowly, how to do in Jambavan gives him, there is innate potential in him. Like Upanishad tries to give you the potential in you. You can excel further, several folds above than what you are. Like he gets that, then finally he realizes he can get the power. He has got all the Ashtasiddhis, as it has been said in the recited in the Hanuman Chalisa. And then, because all the siddhis are available to him, and all because of one word, Rama. The drama is Taraka Mantram, and because with that he does it. And then finally he encounters, even while crossing, because even when he is using all the siddhis and realizing the power and goes about the job, he faced a lot of obstacles. And each time when the obstacle comes, he, he makes himself adapted to the obstacles and does it. When it is required, he becomes so huge. Satayojana Vistiram. He just grows so big. And when he has to enter Lanka, he becomes as small as like a sort of an atom, because he like becomes a very small dwarf, like Lilliputian type creature and goes there. So that means how you have to adopt. Adaptability is the greatest part of your strategy. And then after he goes and finds he has not seen Sita and where she could be. And in fact, at one point, he mistakes Mandodari as the Sita. Because Mandodari is so regal and elegant. He said, he has heard about Sita, how she is from the royal family, because Janakatmaja, how she will be looking like, and because he has not seen, he thinks, but of course, he curses himself. Look, it could not be. She is in the sort of, the she is with the Ravana's palace, how she could be in that one. Then, because he chides himself, because it all happens in our life. We mistake something as this is the best for us. And finally, when we go, it is not that, because we have got something else, we'll have to look for. In our process, it happens, in our professional life, it happens. Then, because she goes further and finally, when he goes and finds Sita, he also waits. He doesn't immediately, when you get the opportunity comes, because immediately we say this share is good, go on invest, not like that. You make an analysis. So he waits and behind the tree, he just sees, then Ravana comes and, because he sort of beseeches her, because how she could be having a royal life again and all those things. She just throws him like a sort of a thrilla, like, the blade of grass. He treats him like a blade of grass. With her power, she could have burnt him alive. She didn't do it because she wanted the Rama to come and rescue him. Because otherwise, because it is not, he has to get finally, it is his job to do. And finally, it's meant for that. And finally, the credit should go to him. She is a Mula Prakriti. Otherwise, she could have done it easily. And in some of the Ramayanas, it is extolling Sita as someone who is so powerful, and she made even Rama, the powerful Rama, more powerful because of her. Because some Ramayana versions are there, but we go by strictly the Valmiki Ramayana, which is the authentic Ramayana, which was there in which he lived in those days, and which has brought this great, because the epic to us. And we will be seeing, and after seeing that, because then he is showing strategy as a diplomat, strategy, how he should behave like a diplomat, and strategy how, because even he is capable of bringing the Ravana and because destroying everything, he doesn't do it, because it is not the job of a diplomat. A diplomat has to convey the message and make them understand, what is the potential. The diplomacy has been fully defined. Every IFS officer has been taught, in those days. I think, because of Swami Ranganath Ananda. of Ramakrishna Mission used to address all the sort of probationers in the academy in Dehradun, just to give them, because the administrative as well as the diplomatic, inputs on the part of the entire Sundarakanda. It is such a great, because chapter, because it got all the things inbuilt. Finally, when he comes back, when he is being set fire and all, when his tail was set fire, because he didn't do that. He just creates, just to show him, just a sort of a token of what it could be and all, by giving the destruction and the demolition of everyone. And this one of his sons of Ramana is also being, Akshay Kumara is being killed. And then, because all the five of his eminent ministers and five of his eminent commandos, they were all have been destroyed, and he comes back. Just to give, this is what I can do. I am the smallest tiny tot of the entire army of Rama. If Rama comes, what will happen? See, just to give the message, how beautifully he is given, and all. Finally he comes back. And when he comes, and even when he introduces Sita, and Sita is, of course, she knows, after all, Jnanadrishti, she must be knowing. But to make her understand she is the right person who has come from Rama to authenticate, he gives one chapter full of, because almost he gives a sort of gist of Ramayana, and he gives that, that is what we will be seeing this. This just I wanted to give you this, and we'll give all the details, and I will post it in WhatsApp. With this, I will be concluding the today's session. I'm looking forward to a lot of people joining this forthcoming session also. So thank you very much. Sahana vavatu, Sahana bunaktu, Sahaviryam karavavahaihi, Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vishvidavahaihi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you. And thank you, Prabhuda. And I think I will come little later, and I will give you a ring and come later.
Okay.
For testing. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Ramachandran, and thank you, madam. See you next week. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.